I won my first sports bet yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Vergil Ortiz made me a whole $2.
It looked like you're having about a heart attack too when McKinson was like sticking a little bit and ducking.
It's because Ortiz got tired. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If McKinson looked like he was like wounded prey for a majority of that fight. You know, I mean, I'm nothing taken away from McKinson. He's like showed incredible heart, and I really do like McKinson. You know, I do like a lot of, especially British fighters. I feel like they're very. I love the European style, and he's also a southpaw, so the slick movement from him too. So I thought it was a really good fight. He displayed tremendous skill. It was definitely a step up in competition compared to anyone else Ortiz has faced thus far.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, even as a pure boxer, in my opinion, just like the people and I think Ortiz got tired, but I think he actually made some pretty good adjustments because remember he was kind of doing his thing and then he started really hammering his body.
Right. Yeah.
Because he came out for that last round of the knockout and Ortiz probably went upstairs about once and then one more time downstairs. Yeah. And McKinson, he was just I'm done.
It's that liver shot, dude. I mean.
He shredded his body, dude.
Yeah.
And he talked about it. I think he talked about it in the post-interview. He was like, we've been talking about kind of mixing it up with the level changes and I think one unfortunate reality for Michael McKinson last night was just the pure difference of scale and power, which is obviously not the full spectrum of why someone gets beat. You can think of a lot of different factors, but it's pretty plainly obvious to me when I look at that and I see the adaptability of someone like Vergil Ortiz, and it's when I see that, it's man, he's adjusting to someone like Michael McKinson, and then he's bopping it to the body, and then he's going up and down, and it's I guess I kind of expected a little more. I honestly thought McKinson was going to outbox him a little more.
Really?
Yeah, I actually kind of, in my head, was I was thinking maybe Michael McKinson could be one that takes him the full 12. I never thought that McKinson would really pull out the decision, I thought
right, but you think he had enough.
Yeah, I was thinking Michael McKinson's going to take 3 or 4 rounds just from, I think if the fight, how it went in the first 4 to 5 rounds, if it had gone like that for the whole fight, it's
Well, I mean, even in the first 4 to 5, it looked like Ortiz was in complete control.
Oh yeah,
during the fight. It almost makes me feel a little guilty that I didn't put him on my last week's episode, or I guess the week before because we didn't film last week, but we were talking about our the top dogs in the welterweight division, and I can't believe I kind of overlooked Ortiz. I feel like he displayed tremendous boxing IQ and ring generalship in particular. He completely controlled that fight from start belt to finish, in my opinion. So I think that going forward, thinking about the future state of that division, I think it's going to be kind of like a 3-headed beast with Boots, Vergil Ortiz, and Conor Benn. I think those are going to be the 3 top names in that division. And it'd be kind of interesting to see, those matchups. And it's almost like the 4 kings, but, it's kind of like a situation like that, with these 3 guys where I'd love to see a fight between any one of them. You know what I mean? Right. Do I think he's ready for Boots? No. I think Ortiz is a dog, and I think he's a great fighter. He's got a lot of power. I mean, 100% knockout ratio is nothing to. Yeah. It's
is it 19-0 now?
Yeah,
19 knockouts.
That was win number 19. But I still don't think that he is ready for Boots Ennis. I think Boots Ennis is too good, too fast, too smart for Ortiz Jr. But like I said, it is a very interesting fight. I don't think it's a blowout by any means, but I would kind of almost compare it to Mayweather De La Hoya. That's kind of where I'd see it. It's close, but I still think that Boots gets the edge in that fight.
Yeah, I think like it's like I think I mentioned like I don't think it just kind of comes down to the adaptability in the fight too, because like you got to think of someone like Jaron Ennis has 27 knockouts too of 29, so it's like I don't think he's not. I don't think he's like much less of a finisher, you know. He's just like you got to compare, you know. If two guys are gonna fight, if two guys are gonna fight like that, like you got to kind of look and be like, well, the way I see someone like Jaron Ennis beating Vergil Ortiz isn't by like a knockout, you know. I feel like someone like Jaron Ennis training for someone like Vergil Ortiz, it's like a lot more. I feel like Jaron Ennis is. I think I don't want to say like better boxer. I feel like that's kind of egregious to say, but
it's an umbrella term. But he's more of a pure boxer, you know.
I don't think Ortiz throws as many straight punches, in my opinion. If that makes sense.
It's more so like I think we were talking about this yesterday, but Ortiz kind of reminds me of like a Canelo, you know. He's got tremendous power.
Good pot shots.
You know, he knows how to torque his punches real well.
Yeah.
And not to say he's a bad boxer, but I just think like from a pure boxing standpoint, the hit and do not get hit aspect of boxing. And if you have to like draw a boxer, you know, I saw Teddy Atlas talking about this once, right? I don't think he was referring to Boots Ennis. He was talking about Devin Haney, but I think it applies to Boots Ennis. But if you were to like draw a boxer, you know, like build-wise, physique-wise, skill set-wise,
right.
I think Boots is like one of those guys that, you know, would be drawn, you know. Vergil Ortiz is a very come-forward Mexican style, and that's an effective style. But when it comes to the sweet science and the art of boxing, you know, I think that, you know, Boots has more tools in his arsenal, if that makes sense, you know. Not saying that he's a better fighter, you know. I mean, like, you know, like I said, Vergil Ortiz is a dog, you know. He's a tough cookie, you know what I mean?
Styles make fights.
Styles make fights.
It's pretty much,
and it's like
that's kind of like the catch-all.
You can't say one style of boxing is. I mean, you can, and you can argue, right? One style of boxing is better than the other, but at the end of the day, it's like there's two people in the ring punching each other. So
I think of more ways Jaron Ennis can beat Vergil Ortiz than I think of how Ortiz can beat Ennis. I think Vergil Ortiz can knock out like Jaron Ennis. But I wouldn't have that be like the main game plan, you know what I mean? But then it's like most of the fights I've seen Vergil Ortiz, and from all my personal observations, he doesn't get in with the jab necessarily as much. He doesn't. It's a lot more shoulder. Like he's just a physical.
Yeah.
He's just a kind of a monster, you know. He's like, but like that's good for Vergil Ortiz. That's like his bread and butter. So like that's why he's so dangerous still, even if it appears, you know, even for myself when I think, you know, Jaron Ennis, I can think of a lot better examples of him having better footwork and technical ability from my point of view looking at it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess if you were to do a really rudimentary or whatever elementary style, like listing off, you know, Jaron Ennis positives and Vergil Ortiz positives, it's like plain to kind of compare. But I think one of the exciting parts about a fight like that with two guys like Jaron Ennis and Vergil Ortiz, it's like you know they're on that level to where they can make an adjustment.
Right, and they're both really smart.
Necessary.
They're both really smart guys.
Oh yeah,
too,
they're and I think the ring IQ is what convinces me a little bit that maybe it's not really like it's maybe a lot closer than something.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's a close fight. I mean, I'm not saying I would be surprised.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if Vergil Ortiz beat Boots Ennis.
It's like a logical like I don't want to say like objective, but like it really almost is. It's I think it's subjective, but like some parts could be objective.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't know like I guess it kind of depends like where these two go to, because it's like
I mean,
you know, we still got freaking Spence and Crawford hanging around. It's like
But I'm just saying that this is a fight that I'm like really excited to see happen in the future. You know, like like on the horizon, like not even like in view.
I mean,
like a future showdown.
How old is Vergil?
He's pretty young, I think. It's only like I think he's younger than me.
Wow, Jerome is 25, Vergil's 24, so we might have to be a little patient for this.
No, like I said, it's something that's gonna happen in like 10 years, if that. You know what I mean?
Throwback to the podcasters in like 2010 saying about Budden.
It's the next Spence Crawford.
Oh, don't say that. I don't want to wait 8 years, bro. Come
on. But yeah, I'm excited for that fight. I mean, yesterday's card was a great card. I mean, there were a couple of great fights on there. What about Cobbs and Hooker?
God, oh my God.
Blair Cobbs just ran through Maurice Hooker.
Well,
dropped him
Maurice
3
Hooker
pounds on route to the unanimous decision.
I think Maurice Hooker. Well, I think he was just not there.
Yeah, I mean, it
but
was kind of sad. You know, it's like very rarely do you see a fighter get beat up. You know,
in
the words of Stephen A. Smith, you know, very rarely do you see a fighter get beat up. But that was an ass whooping.
This was I believe this was at a catchweight too, because I think this was. Hooker said he wasn't going to be able to shed the last 3 pounds to get down to the limit, and then Cobbs said, "Screw it, I don't care. Let's fight anyways."
Yeah, it was
150 something.
150, yeah. I just looked it up.
I don't want to say I'm not convinced, you know, because like Maurice Hooker's a really good win. That's a really good. That's like an amazing.
That's a good name to have on your.
That's an amazing name to have on your resume. So, but like, that fight was like, one of those two is probably gonna kind of not get as many opportunities. So it was like, now it's like, I'm thinking of like fighters that Blair Cobb could fight after Maurice Hooker, and who, you know, if Maurice Hooker won, who he would have to fight. And I'm like, I don't think either of them would be able to at this point compete with anybody around the weight they're at. Because I actually think Cobbs took some shots too. Yeah. He got clipped still, but like, I don't think it was.
It was a fun one to watch, but like I said, it was very like.
It was a beatdown.
I thought it would be a lot more competitive than it actually was. You know, well, I guess like I think the last time I thought a fight would be closer and wasn't even too long ago, it was the Devin Cambosis fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Devin and Cambosis, like that rematch, it's happening in October, right? Supposedly.
I don't know. I keep hearing that.
I feel like I say this every episode. I like Cambosis. I don't think you should take that rematch.
Cambosis keeps saying that he's doing the rematch clause, but there's been no news.
There's no like. It's like
it sounds like he's.
Close to,
it sounds like he's just saying he's doing it until Loma just randomly comes back and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, Devin versus Loma. I read that Aaron was trying to get that fight made for summer of next year, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but
yeah, it would probably have to be like.
But it's more so like, you know, if they can get, if the circumstances are right, if they can get Lomachenko out of Ukraine, you know, because he's fighting in the war right now. Yeah. I think that, you know, that's a hell of a fight. Who do I think wins in that fight? I think it's a very interesting matchup. It's probably the most interesting stylistic matchup for me, you know, because like they're both such great boxers, but like, and they're both like have such a pretty style of boxing. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, you have to consider just the fact that Loma's been away, it's been off for so long. Does that play a factor? You know what I mean? Devin is like in the gym every day training. He's the man at 135 right now. You know, he's only getting better. He's getting older. So, and Loma is getting older too. Loma's not young, you know.
Loma.
He's not a young dude. Yeah, he's a pretty old dude. You know, I mean, he's not like old, but he's not a young gun like Devin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Haney Lomachenko, I don't know. It's very circumstantial. I think it's a great fight. It's like the jab versus Lomachenko's footwork. I feel like that's where the two main factors in this fight. You know
I think
what I mean?
the one thing to be honest, the one thing I think about when I think of Haney versus Lomachenko, I think it's kind of I know it's kind of Haney's like 5'8", so he's not like super.
Hey, I'm 5'8".
Well, Loma's like 5'6".
Yeah.
So it's like he's like, everyone he fights is pretty big. So
yeah.
I kind of didn't expect his performance like against Nakatani or
Yeah, well,
or,
I mean, that was more
like
of a statement win,
Yeah, but I was like, if he's got turned up like that, I think he's got rough Haney up. I don't think. I feel like for Haney, Loma shouldn't try to really. They shouldn't. I don't think he should try to I think of it as like fencing because they're so good.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost
like power
like
chess.
Yeah. I don't think a chess match is the best option with Devin Haney because I think. Well, I guess you could argue that it is because I guess you could say Cambosis maybe did try to do that to rough him up and he didn't. But I think Loma is so much of a better boxer that I think he can use his boxing
to rough him up. Yeah. The problem with the Cambosis fight is that Cambosis was like waiting for one big shot,
That's what I'm saying.
He was just like waiting. Do you know what I mean? He was like shelled up like this.
And honestly, it's like when we spar and you're like, stop loading up your left hand. It's kind of like that though, because it's like he did like a version of that. I feel like he just waited too long.
Yeah.
When he was waiting for that shot, I think Haney was just.
I think he was trying to fight the same way he fought. The same way he fought Teofimo. It's like if you look at the two performances, they're very similar. It's just that.
Well, I just think Haney's way different.
Haney's style does not match up well with Cambosis' style.
Yeah. Well, and I think even Haney is like I think Teofimo's style is that you can catch him on an off night.
Yeah, that's
I
what
don't
I'm saying.
think Haney, even if you catch Haney on an off night, I don't think
Haney's too like sharp and he's too defensive for that.
Yeah, like an off night for Haney is like he still has his defense, and that's the problem, I think.
Yeah.
An off night for him might be a boring fight rather than Teofimo running into a freaking
overhand.
Yeah, so it's like because Haney's not gonna do that because Haney's already from the get go trying to stick you and get you with that length, which good because he's big. So
I really do hope we see Cambosis back in the limelight. I mean, I would love nothing more. I mean, I really like Devin Haney, right?
Yeah.
But I think George Cambosis is such a great character. He's such a fun personality.
It's a shame because.
And it's like I would love to see like George Cambosis back in the picture in a big way, just because he's good for boxing, He's this entertaining guy, I love Devin Haney. I think he's such a great boxer. He's so good.
Yeah.
He is very reminiscent of like a money.
He's like he'd be like Devin Haney would be good to put on like a Jordan style logo like an NBA.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd have his silhouette.
Something about Cambosis is just so fun to watch. So like I just wish like
he's cinematic.
Yeah, he's cinematic. Like,
he writes a freaking speech before every press conference.
Yeah, he's like the challenger mindset, and like he's a great inspiration to kids too. And I love the fact that he went straight into the Haney fight right after he won the championship from Lopez. But I hope even if he does lose that he still takes like banger fights where he fights.
I also do because I just hate when some of these guys lose and they get like it seems like they get discouraged if they can't always fight for a title. It's like you can still do banger fights, bro. Like they get so worked up over like I lost the titles. Like if Anthony Joshua doesn't win, it's like he's gonna go fight Deontay. I'm gonna pay money to watch that.
It'll be really fun.
I'm still gonna pay money to watch AJ. I'll pay money to watch George Cambosis.
Yeah.
If Cambosis wants to go fight, some, 8th ranked lightweight even. I think Cambosis is fun enough that I would watch him headline like a cool fun card.
It'd be a really fun fight. I think this would be a really fun fight. Isaac Cruz versus George Cambosis.
Oh,
that would be a really fun fight because they're both monsters, dude.
Yeah, and they're both.
They both got heart.
Cruz is.
It's like battle. It's like these guys both have like such tremendous heart and like,
I think
aggressive that come forward. I mean, I guess.
Is Cambosis? Yeah. Cambosis is not big, right? Not like skinny, but he's like different frame.
Yeah.
Because it's like you look at Devin Haney and he's pretty wide. Like he looks like he could fill out.
He's got the Dorito.
Devin Haney and a guy like him looks like he could fill out his frame comfortably to like 140, 147 maybe. When he's like 35 probably. Right. When it's harder to drop, But Cambosis is a guy that strikes me as a really natural. He's got good metabolism, I think. Not that I have any verification on that, but it says he's 5'9", but I don't.
You don't believe it?
I swear
Well, I mean, some guys.
Think of the face-off with him and Haney.
I mean, as much as like I'm talking about this rematch, and I think it's unnecessary. I'm still gonna watch it.
Absolutely.
One of my one other fight that just recently happened that was kind of reminiscent of that, where it was kind of like, do you know what I mean? Where it's like not as close as you were thinking. Is the Benavidez versus Garcia fight? It just happened recently. Us being based out in Tempe, to Phoenix. I'm a big fan of the Benavidez brothers. I thought that would be in a very explosive back and forth matchup. Benavidez Garcia, because they're both. It's like Phoenix versus Philly. They're both like they're both power punchers. They both got dynamite in their
Jose
hands.
Benavidez comes to throw.
Yeah,
like,
but he did
like punches. Like I get it was.
He didn't though. He was landing some good shots at the start. I don't know what happened towards the end of the fight.
It was a majority decision, but like
I think it should have been unanimous.
It was one of the judges had a freaking tie, a draw.
You gotta keep in mind Jose Benavidez is
he's
youngest,
no joke.
Yeah, he's no joke. He's the youngest Golden Gloves champion in history. He was a tremendous amateur too. I mean,
27-2 still.
Yeah.
He's 27-2-1 after that.
And his two losses are just like against like Terrence Crawford and Danny Garcia.
I know it's like
you can't even be mad at that.
When I see some fighters with like 6 losses, but then I go look at the losses and it's like Floyd Mayweather, freaking Errol Spence. It's like they lost against literally all, and I'm like okay.
The best of the
so
best,
they've won 27 fights and lost 6, but in reality they've lost 6 against literally like the best fighters on planet Earth. Yeah. So it's like, because I think fighters run into each other, and I think a fighter will just run into another fighter that's just. He's got you, man.
Yeah.
Like he's in your nightmares. I think that's relating back to the Devin Haney thing. I truly think that's the Haney Cambosis. I think Haney just like Jose Benavidez Jr. versus Danny Garcia. I think it was a pretty clear, unanimous decision. Mm-hmm. Danny was, he was landing the punches he needed. He was going up and down. He looked in pretty good shape too. Yeah. He looked in great shape.
Props to him. It's not easy. It's not easy to move up. I don't think people people hear it like, 135 to 140. That's a big jump. Like people don't
hydration.
People don't understand. People don't understand the difference. Like they're like, it's only 5 pounds. I'm like, 5 pounds is a lot in the combat sports world. You know what I mean?
People see like the limit, and they don't realize human body is never going to be possible to limit itself. I think you're right though with that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Danny Garcia, very impressive because like it's hard to move up weight classes. And speaking of someone who's like, moving up weight classes, you gotta. This is a question I've been, this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently. Is the TAKEOVER gonna take over at 140? I've been waiting all episode to say that. Is the TAKEOVER gonna take over?
I think that Teofimo Lopez is gonna be. I think he can be like top 10 of all time.
Of all time?
Yes.
Like history of authors?
Okay, right now he's super young.
Yeah. Are you talking about 140 or are you talking about of all time? Always.
No, I was talking about 140.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Oh no.
I thought you were talking about like all
sorry.
time, all time.
My bad.
I was like, that's kind of like. I mean, I like Teofimo Lopez.
No. Top 10, 140. 140.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Sorry, I was the only reason I said that's why I'm confident. I'm confident because of his experience at the lower weight class at 135. Right. That's why I think 140. Where I feel like he's even more.
He's more confident. I mean, he's a big dude. Every time when he was fighting, I'm like, there's no way this guy's 130.
Maybe he should have moved up a little sooner.
I mean, it looks the amount of draining. He had to drain his body to get down to 135.
Yeah,
that's why. I mean, I think he's gonna be better at 140 because it's more natural for him. You know what I mean?
That's what, dude. I feel like the fact that he can. I don't know if this is a hot take. I think. The reason him being at 140, he can take a step back even skill-wise. Mm-hmm. And 140 is that good of a... I think that's just perfect for him.
And with Josh Taylor leaving the division soon, I think he has like an opportunity to take that spot.
God, yeah.
Top dog of that spot.
I keep forgetting, like, it's like change of guard right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like that. I think that's what's kind of convincing me right now. It's like, Taylor's not, I don't think Taylor is going to stay and think it's worth it to stay to fight freaking Teo.
But
I don't think he's going to.
He's kind of screwed either way, whether he goes up to 140. Because when he goes up to 147, I don't think, Josh Taylor's a great fighter. But I don't think moving up to 147 is wise. I
don't know if he wants to have it like taken away from him. I think he'd rather move up.
Right.
After, because I think he's gonna beat Jack Catterall. He kind of has to rematch Catterall, in my opinion.
They are, right? I think
they should be.
That's confirmed though.
Catterall just signed some deal with a network that like makes it easier. I think Catterall just signed with Boxer. Is Catterall gonna have to go from trying to take the titles away from Josh Taylor to maybe trying to have to fight freaking Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I think now that he can have a little more weight too, it's like, I think he's gonna put some dudes down, to be honest. Because think about it, 140, dude.
Yeah.
Think about some of the dudes at 140. I mean, Josh Taylor's big, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty big, but like, he's not. I don't think he's big like Teo.
No.
And I don't think he's big like Teo when Teo is allowed to be like over 140. Because I'm thinking about it. It's like, Teo's at 140, but he's probably gonna come in at like a little, depending.
I mean, like after hydration and everything.
Yeah, I love that. I love the take back. Instead of the take, it's like the take back. It's like that's what I think that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's one of the most fun fighters to watch. Not even like I train. I have a client. His name's Tejas, and the biggest shout out Tejas if you're watching. But he's the biggest Teofimo fanboy. Like if Teofimo like dominates at 140, I'd love to have him on here to talk about it a little bit too. But yeah, I think we're gonna probably finish up there. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. This is our first time doing videos, so let us know how you like it. I kind of dressed a little bumming for this. I didn't even shave. Yeah, I was very self-conscious before this podcast.
My guy just got out of the shower.
We're kind of excited for this upgrade. We're really putting a lot into this podcast, and we just want to make it a good viewing experience for you guys at home. We really love doing this, and
I think our faces. I think getting people used to our faces makes it a little like they can put the podcast to faces.
Let us know what you guys think of the change. If there's any ideas you guys have or suggestions, we're always open to it. So make sure to comment them down below. And we'll be back next week talking about the Joshua Usyk fight. That's coming up. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. We'll be back. We've got an exciting season ahead of us. It's the winter time is usually where people, the boxing world kind of heats up and where the big fights happen or the bigger fights happen. So there are a lot of fights coming up in the next couple of months. The nearest big fight is the Joshua Usyk fight, obviously. Right. Then we've got Canelo Triple G. There's so many great fights on the horizon.
Fall and winter is gonna keep us.
Yeah, I mean that's boxing season there.
We picked a good time to come back. Actually, this is a good time because I think from August 20th on, almost every other week, it's a lot of good.
Yeah. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Hooks and Lattes, and we'll see you next week.
All right, bro. That's good. That's good, brother.